There's a jar in your kitchen you probably haven't thought twice about. It just sits there, tucked in a cabinet or on a shelf, holding rice. Nothing special, nothing magical. But what if I told you that same rice jar could be the reason money either flows into your home or quietly slips away? No. This isn't about superstition. It's about energy, and the way your home either holds or leaks it. In many cultures, rice symbolizes abundance, not just as food, but as a foundation for wealth. It's steady, it's sustaining, and when placed intentionally, it becomes more than storage. It becomes a signal. Here's the truth. The rice jar in your home is already working. It's either collecting the kind of energy that builds financial stability, or it's sitting in the wrong place, draining prosperity little by little while you wonder why things still feel tight, even when you're doing all the right things. Most people never think about placement. They focus on how full the jar is, not where it lives. But just like sunlight nurtures a plant only when it hits the right angle, wealth energy gathers only where the space supports it. The wrong placement. It's like storing money next to a drafty window. You may not see it fly out, but eventually, you feel the cold dot. In this video, I'll show you exactly where to place your rice jar so it holds more than food. It holds intention. I'll explain the spots that quietly drain your finances and the hidden corners that help money stay longer, grow stronger, and feel more natural in your life. Because sometimes, the change you've been waiting for doesn't come from a raise or a lucky break. Sometimes it starts with a jar you already own and the space you've never questioned. Let's begin. Part 1. The right direction isn't just Feng Shui theory you walk through your home every day. The corners, the shelves, the cabinets, they're all just there, familiar, predictable, until one day, something changes. You notice a bill comes in higher than expected. A check takes longer to arrive. Your savings dip for the third month in a row, and you can't quite say why. You're budgeting, you're working, you're doing everything right. So why does it still feel like money is brushing past you, but never staying? Here's a thought that might sound strange at first. Maybe it's not about how hard you work. Maybe it's about where your energy settles, more specifically, where your rice jar is resting. Now, I know, it's just rice, right? A staple, a backup plan but in energetic terms, rice has always symbolized wealth that's quiet, consistent, and nourishing. And like any form of wealth, it needs a safe place to stay. The direction you place your rice jar in your home. That's not a mystical rule pulled from a book. It's a practical key to how your space supports or disperses prosperity. Let's make it clear. The southwest corner of your home isn't special because someone once said so. It's special because it holds what we often forget to prioritize: inner stability, family security, emotional roots. In energy terms, the Southwest is associated with maternal care, not loud, not flashy, but protective, strong. It's the feeling of being held, grounded, and quietly supported. When your rice jar lives here, it's not just out of the way. It's safe, it's shielded, and wealth energy responds to that calm. It stays. Now let's talk about the Northeast. This direction doesn't whisper comfort, it speaks of clarity. Planning, growth that begins in the mind before it shows up in your bank account. If the Southwest holds your money like a mother's hand, the Northeast sharpens your vision for it. It turns your spending into strategy. It turns your savings into seed. It's perfect for anyone budgeting for something big, preparing for change, or building a future with intention. When your rice jar is placed in this direction, it's like telling your home, I'm ready to grow up financially. Let that settle for a moment. One direction nurtures what you already have. The other supports what you're building toward. Neither is better. Both serve different stages of your journey. And that's why blindly placing your rice jar in the kitchen wherever it fits misses the point entirely. You're not just storing food. You're storing financial frequency. You wouldn't keep your jewelry in a cracked box. You wouldn't leave cash out in the open where wind could scatter it. And yet, that's what so many of us unknowingly do with the energy of wealth in our homes. We drop it into a random drawer. We stuff it behind cleaning supplies. We hide it in places that feel convenient, but lack the energetic support to hold what we're hoping for. And here's what's most surprising. The fix isn't big. You don't need to tear down a wall or redesign your kitchen. All you need is a compass, a quiet moment, and the courage to see your space as more than a place to eat, sleep, and rush through. You need to see it as a living system that's either helping or hindering your finances. So stand in your home. Hold that rice jar in your hands. Feel its weight. Know that it doesn't just hold grains, it holds meaning. Turn slowly. Find the southwest or the northeast, whichever speaks more to where you are right now. Place the jar there, not in a spotlight, not for show, but with purpose, with care. Because energy responds to direction. And money, for all its logic and systems, also responds to something deeper. It flows where there is stillness. It lingers where there is intention. And it grows where it feels respected. Your rice jar may have been silent all this time, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been speaking to your finances. Maybe now, it's time to listen. Part 2. Not all spots are built to hold wealth sometimes. It's not about what you bring into your home. It's about where you let it live. You can fill your space with good intentions, meaningful items, and hard-earned money, but if you place them in the wrong spots, they become restless. They lose power. And without realizing it, you begin to feel that restlessness too. Let's be honest. Most people don't think twice about placement. We put things where they fit, where they're easy to reach, or where we've always kept them. But in the quiet world of energy, where what's unseen affects what's felt, not every corner holds the same weight. Some spots welcome abundance. Others let it escape. This is why where you place your rice jar matters, not because of tradition, but because some spaces simply can't hold what you're asking them to. Some locations, no matter how clean or convenient, are designed to move energy, not keep it. And when you ask them to store wealth, they do the opposite, they release it. Take your front entrance, for example. It's the mouth of your home. A place of movement, comings and goings, constant shift. You greet guests here, accept packages here, wave to the outside world. And that's beautiful. But when you place your rice jar near the door, you're giving your wealth a direct exit. It's like putting your savings account right next to a fan on high speed. You won't see the dollars flying, but you'll feel their absence. Hallways, walkways, and transitional paths are no different. These are the arteries of your home, meant for flow, not retention. When you place a wealth item here, you're asking it to hold still in a current that was never meant to pause. Imagine trying to set down a glass of water in the middle of a stream. It might stay upright for a moment, but eventually, the current wins. And then there are the places we think are hidden, but really aren't safe. Under the sink, behind the fridge, near the trash, or in dark, musty corners. These places are damp, shadowed, forgotten, and the energy there is the same: slow, stagnant, heavy. When you place your rice jar in a space like this, it absorbs that weight, and so do you. Over time, that heaviness can translate into your finances: sluggish cash flow, delayed payments, a growing sense of not enough, even if you technically have enough. One of the most subtle mistakes is putting your rice jar near loud appliances or bright artificial light. The fridge hums, the microwave beeps, the fluorescent light buzzes overhead. And with every vibration, every flicker, the energy around your rice jar is disturbed. Think of it like a still pond. The more ripples you create, the less clearly you can see your reflection, and the less clearly wealth can settle. Here's what makes all of this more than just theory. It's what you already feel but haven't named. You've walked into certain rooms and instantly felt off. You've placed something on a shelf and then moved it days later because it just didn't sit right. That's not coincidence. That's your intuition picking up on spatial imbalance. And when it comes to money, that imbalance isn't just emotional, it can be energetic. But here's the most important thing to know: this isn't about fear. It's not about doing it perfectly or being punished for choosing the wrong cabinet. It's about awareness, mindful placement, quiet adjustments that build a safer environment for your energy to grow. Because the truth is, money behaves like water. It needs containment, not chaos. It doesn't thrive in corners that leak or hum or shift with every gust of movement. It needs stillness, quiet, a soft pulse that tells it you can stay here. You're safe. So how do you find the right spot? It starts with observation. Walk your space slowly. Look for corners that are stable but not forgotten. Clean, but not clinical. Close to life but not in its direct path. Your kitchen often holds these spots. A cabinet near the cooking area, but away from steam and noise. A drawer under the counter that doesn't get slammed. A corner that feels warm, untouched, almost like a breath you forgot you were holding. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to feel calm. And when you place your rice jar there with intention, with care, you'll feel the difference. Not instantly, not like a magic trick, but subtly. You might notice your spending feels more thoughtful, your earnings stretch a little farther, or maybe the tension in your chest when you look at your bank app softens. Wealth isn't always loud. Often it begins in silence. In a single jar, in a single corner that no one else sees, but you begin to respect. Let that sink in. You may have been placing your rice jar in plain sight, thinking visibility equals power. But maybe, just maybe, true abundance prefers the quiet, the tucked away, the protected. Because not all spots are built to hold wealth, but the right one, that's where it begins to stay. Part 3. Not just a jar, a safe for your energy. It looks like just a jar. Something ordinary. Ceramic, maybe. Maybe glass. You picked it because it was on sale. Because it matched your kitchen. Or because it was the one you already had. But what if I told you that rice jar, the one you rarely think about, is quietly influencing how money feels in your life? This isn't about superstition. It's about how your home holds energy, and how that energy either supports your intentions or drains them. When it comes to money, we often think about how much we make, how much we spend, how much we owe, but we rarely think about where it lives, where the idea of money is stored, where the presence of abundance is symbolized. That's where the rice jar comes in. You see, in energy terms, this jar is more than a container. It's a safe, a physical place where wealth energy gathers, rests, and takes root. But like any good safe, not every design will do. You wouldn't store cash in a plastic bag. You wouldn't keep your family heirlooms in a cardboard box. That's how most people treat their energetic wealth. They place it in jars that are too open, too fragile, too out of alignment. Let's talk about shape first. The best rice jar has a round body, a deep base, and a modest, narrowed opening. Why? Because wealth doesn't like to spill. It likes to settle. A round base encourages the energy to swirl and stay. A deep foundation gives it room to grow. And a smaller mouth, that's like adding a password to your savings account. It signals, this isn't for everything. This is for what matters. Now, material. Here's where many people miss the mark. That stylish clear plastic jar. It might look modern, but it's energetically hollow. Plastic is synthetic, light, and non-absorbent. It reflects energy instead of holding it. Metal, it's cold. It conducts energy too quickly, pulling it away before it can settle. Wood, it clashes with the earth element that rice belongs to. It disrupts instead of harmonizing. What works best? Clay, ceramic, matte porcelain. These are earth-based materials, solid, stable, slow to heat or cool. They absorb. They ground. They give wealth energy something to cling to. And just like the ground holds seeds until they sprout, these materials hold abundance until it's ready to expand. Now, color. You might not think it matters, but color is the first thing energy feels. Bright, sharp tones, like neon, metallic finishes, cold blues or harsh reds, overstimulate. They scatter the energy. They draw the eye, but not the heart. The goal isn't to impress. The goal is to hold. That's why the best colors are warm earth tones, muted gold, clay brown, beige terracotta. They don't scream, they whisper, "You're safe here." And that's exactly what wealth needs to hear. Because here's what no one tells you. Money doesn't stay because you chase it harder. It stays when it feels secure. And your rice jar, if chosen with care, becomes that message. It says, "I'm ready to receive, and I know how to keep." It turns your home into a container of calm intention. A place where wealth doesn't just pass through, but rests, builds, multiplies. Now let's go deeper. Ask yourself, how does your current rice jar feel when you hold it? Is it light, thin, wobbly? Does it chip easily? Or is it grounded, smooth, weighty in your hands? When you look at it, does it blend into the noise? Or does it quietly center you? This is more than design. It's a reflection of how you've been treating your own sense of security. If the jar is unstable, maybe you've been feeling unstable too. If it's transparent and exposed, maybe your finances feel too vulnerable. But when the jar is sturdy, soft in tone, rounded in shape, it starts to shift something inside you. You feel more rooted, more deliberate. And slowly, your choices begin to mirror that dot. This is how transformation works. Not in one big dramatic gesture, but in the little things. The shape of a jar, the feel of clay in your hands, the comfort of knowing you've created one place in your home where wealth can land, unshaken. So take a moment. Look at the rice jar you've been using. Ask yourself honestly, is this the kind of vessel that tells money, "You're welcome here"? If not, don't judge yourself. Just upgrade with purpose. Choose something you wouldn't mind passing down. Not because it's expensive, but because it feels true. This is where energy meets practicality, where intention meets object, where an ordinary jar becomes something sacred without looking sacred. It's quiet, it's humble, but it's strong. And sometimes, that's all money needs to trust you. A safe space, a still space, a home within your home. Because what looks like just a jar can become the center of your financial calm, if you let it. Part 4. How to activate your wealth jar. So you've chosen the right jar. It's round, grounded, stable. You've placed it in a quiet corner that feels safe, not just physically, but energetically. That's already a powerful step. But now comes the part most people overlook: activation. Because even the perfect jar in the perfect spot is just potential. It holds space, but it hasn't been told what to hold yet. Activating your wealth jar isn't about superstition. It's about setting intention with action. A jar is just a vessel until you fill it with meaning, and that meaning comes from what you place inside, what you layer around it, and how you interact with it over time. Let's start at the bottom. Literally. Before adding rice, place a red envelope or 3 coins at the very base of the jar. You don't need rare coins or symbolic inscriptions. Ordinary coins work. What matters is the act. The red envelope represents fire, the energy of initiation and warmth. The coins, typically 3, represent a sacred trio: heaven, earth, and human. Together, They create a full circuit, a closed loop of energy, a silent message to your space. Abundance begins here. Next, add a small pinch of salt, not for taste, for cleansing. Salt is one of the most ancient, natural energy purifiers. It absorbs moisture, odors, and subtle stagnation. Wrap it in a thin cloth or a piece of rice paper and lay it gently at the base. It's like giving your jar a filter, so it doesn't just gather energy, but keeps it clear. Now for the rice itself. As you pour it in, don't rush. Take a breath. Let it feel intentional. This is the heart of your wealth jar, a simple grain, repeated hundreds of times. Each one a quiet affirmation that you have, and will continue to have, more than enough. Fill the jar steadily, but not to the brim. Leave a little space. Because just like your finances, a little room for air, for growth, for future, is wise. For those who want to go further, there are optional enhancers, and they don't have to be dramatic. You might add a few dried bay leaves, or a small stick of cinnamon nestled near the top. Bay leaf carries the energy of clarity and protection. Cinnamon, of warmth and flow. Together, they shift the scent and the subtle feel of the jar. You don't need much. 1 or 2 pieces are enough. When you open the lid and catch a faint trace of scent, it's not perfume. It's presence. And then, there's the cloth. Once the jar is filled, cover it with a square of clean red fabric. Not to hide it, but to protect it. Red again brings the fire element, activating and sealing the jar's purpose. This cloth isn't just symbolic. It keeps out dust, harsh light, and noise. It says this space is tended to. This energy is watched over. You can tie it loosely, or just lay it gently across the top. Either way, it becomes part of the ritual, part of the care. Now, here's where most people stop. They fill the jar once, set it aside, and walk away. But activation isn't a one-time event. It's a relationship. And like any relationship, it deepens through consistency. So here's what I suggest. Every time you refill your rice jar, take a moment to clean it first. Not just rinse it out, but reset it. Remove any leftover grains. Wipe the inside with a dry cloth. Reaffirm its purpose in your mind. Then pour in fresh rice, with the same intention you had the first time. This isn't about obsession. It's about presence. You're not just storing food. You're making space for prosperity. You might be thinking all this for a jar. But let's reframe that. How many hours have you worked to earn a sense of financial peace? How many times have you worried, calculated, hoped things would finally feel easier? If a small shift like this, a few coins, a piece of cloth, a breath of attention, can move the energy even slightly in your favor, why wouldn't you? Because at its core, activating your wealth jar is not about the jar. It's about choosing to be intentional with what supports you. It's about creating one quiet, stable place in your home that holds the vibration of enough, of safe, of still. So take your time. Do it with care. And then, leave it be. You don't have to look at it every day. You don't have to touch it every week. But every time you pass it, even subconsciously, you'll know, this is where your abundance rests. This is where your energy gathers. And this, not a new paycheck, not a lottery win, but this subtle act of alignment is where wealth begins to stay. Part 5. Little habits that make money stay. Money doesn't always leave with a bang. Sometimes it just fades. Quietly. Without a warning. Without a sound. You don't notice it at first. A small overdraft here. A forgotten subscription there. Groceries cost a little more. Your energy feels a little off. Then one day, you look at your balance, and despite working hard, trying harder, something still feels like it's slipping through your fingers. Here's the truth most people miss. Money isn't just about income. It's about energy. And the energy of money doesn't respond to how smart you are or how much you hustle. It responds to how consistently you care for it. In the world of energy, Money likes stability. And stability, my friend, lives in your habits. Tiny, repeatable actions that tell money, you are safe here. You can stay. Let's start with the most obvious and most overlooked. Never let your rice jar run empty. It seems small. Just a jar. Just rice. But energy reads symbols louder than logic. An empty jar sends the message of lack, even if the rest of your house is full. It whispers scarcity. It creates the low hum of not enough in your space, and over time, that hum becomes your baseline. You might not even hear it, but it shapes how you think, how you spend, how you save. Keeping your jar filled, even partially, keeps the story of abundance alive. Now, about mixing old and new rice. Many people simply top off the jar. It's easier, faster. But think about this: would you pour clean water into a bottle of sour milk? Would you paint over mold and call the wall fresh? Of course not. When you add new energy to old, stagnant energy without clearing the residue, you don't get renewal, you get conflict. So every time you refill the jar, take a moment to empty it completely. Clean it. Wipe it out. Shake off the dust, energetically and literally. It's not just hygiene. It's ritual, a soft reset, a way of saying, this space is worth keeping pure. Then there's something most people don't realize until it's too late. Don't lend or borrow rice from your wealth jar. Not even a handful. Not even for a neighbor. Because this isn't your kitchen jar. This is your energetic vault. Once it holds intention, it's no longer neutral. It becomes symbolic, a place that represents the stability of your financial core. Sharing from it, even with love, dilutes that energy. Keep a separate jar for everyday use, but let this one remain whole, untouched. It's not about selfishness. It's about energetic boundaries. Even generosity has structure when it's sacred. And what about where your hands are when you interact with the jar? Are you hurried, distracted, treating it like a task? Or are you present even for 10 seconds when you lift the lid? Energy reads that too. You don't need a ceremony. But a breath of mindfulness goes a long way. A soft thought, thank you for holding my stability. That's it. Quiet reverence. Because money, like people, stays where it feels respected. Over time, these habits don't just shape your jar, they shape you. You begin to notice when things are off. You notice how clutter builds mental fog, how rushing leads to overspending, how neglect in one drawer somehow ripples into your grocery bills. You begin to slow down, not because you have to, but because you want to. You realize that wealth isn't loud. It's not fast. It's not constant movement. True wealth is stillness with purpose, rhythm with rest, having enough, and knowing that's a powerful place to be. And when people ask why your energy feels more grounded, why things start lining up, why you look less stressed, even if your paycheck hasn't changed, you may not have the words. You'll just remember the jar, the salt, the coins, the cloth, and the quiet habits that built something you can't always explain, but always feel. Because money doesn't just come. It stays when it knows you're ready. And sometimes, being ready isn't about having more. It's about making space, tending to what's already there, and becoming the kind of person whose energy says, I know how to keep what I value. That's what this jar is teaching you. And that's what wealth is listening for. Final maybe now, you'll never look at your rice jar the same way again. What seemed ordinary, a container tucked in the kitchen, filled with grains, has quietly revealed itself as something far more powerful. A symbol, a signal, a quiet place where your energy and your intentions meet. Throughout this journey, we didn't just talk about direction, or design, or rituals. We talked about stillness in a noisy world. We talked about how money, like us, wants to feel safe. How wealth responds not only to action, but to attention. How the way you treat a jar can mirror how you treat your peace. your boundaries, your sense of enough. This wasn't about superstition. It never was. It was about alignment, about the small choices that don't shout, but shape, and about the kind of home where energy doesn't just move, it settles. Gently, quietly, fully. If you've listened all the way through, I want to say thank you. Truly, because that tells me something about you. It tells me you're not just chasing money. You're ready to receive it, to hold it, to honor it. And maybe, most importantly, you're ready to trust yourself with it. So here's my wish for you. May your home feel more grounded. May your finances begin to feel less like a fight and more like a flow. And may that simple jar, sitting quietly in the right corner, holding just enough rice, become a daily reminder that abundance doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it whispers. And if you're still enough to listen, it stays. Thank you for being here. And may wealth, the true kind, find its way to you and stay a while.